Good morning, Miss. Today I will be presenting why should every citizen vote. Next, my name is Neeraj Kumar. This is my ID number BBA0924202972. I'm a student from Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration. Next, okay, Miss. Today I will be talking about the introduction to voting. First topic, the definition. Voting is a process by which citizens select their leaders and make their voices heard. Where voting is an act of choosing leaders or deciding on policies in a democratic setup or way, which is voting. Like we go to the place and vote, and yeah, it's to me, in my point of view, it's more than just a right. It's an opportunity for every citizen to have their voice heard by the government, by the royals, and everything. Okay, Miss. By voting, we actually contribute to shaping our community and country together. Next, the second is the power of vote, where we bring equal voice. Each vote is equally valuable in a democracy country. Such as historical impact, voting has led to significant change in laws, policies, and leadership. Like as an example, the end of ominous dominance in 2018. uh, we should never underestimate the power of a single vote. Like in democracies, every vote carries equal weight. Even one vote can change anyone's act of leadership. Like if you're competing in an election, like one vote can change everything. And regardless of the background or status of any election candidates, like history shows us that election have been decided by very narrow margins, proving that every vote very truly matters. Okay, next, voting as a civic duty. In my point of view, it is a responsibility. Voting is not only a right but a civic duty for all citizens, because every 5 years we want our voice to be heard. Like we're giving all the leaders the opportunity to let their voice being heard, let our voice being heard, like what we need, what we actually need to develop the country, and etc. Like it's more than a sense of ownership. Like participation in elections fosters a sense of belonging and ownership in a country's future. This is the path we choose to develop our country through creative and innovative leaders, where their decision making is good and all the interpersonal skills are very clear. Next, representation in government. Voting ensures that elected officials represent the true will of the people. Like they avoiding minority rule. High voter turnout prevents decision being made by a small unrepresentative segment of the population. We want someone from us citizens, to be to make sure that our voices are heard in the government, like what we need, what steps should government take next for citizens, for the country, and etc. So voting is one of the main ways for us to elect leaders. When like high voter turnout prevents decision being made by a small group. Government is compared small when compared to the citizens. That's why we want our voice to be heard by a leader. So that's why voting is important, to choose the right leader. Next, voting actually affects the daily life of our citizens, us together, like policies and surveys, government decisions impact healthcare, education, taxes, and many more, such as like economic stability and job opportunities, healthcare access and quality, education and opportunities for youth, social services and welfare program, infrastructure and community development, environment quality, public safety and justice, personal freedoms and rights. This single thing, like voting, gives citizens the control over policies that affects their lives directly, such as the SST and GST. Like GST was bring out by a leader, like to cut off the unnecessary things. Even though it's higher, it was good compared to the SST, and even citizens prefer GST more than SST. Next, voting is also protecting our hard-earned rights. The first is such as independence and the Federal Constitution 1957, advocacy against racial and religious discrimination, push for women's and minority rights, Muslim movement and for free and fair elections, lowering of the voting age to 18. Yeah, this is not a simple right, but it's a hard-earned right. We protest, we make sure that this thing happens. Our voice must be heard. There's a lot of issues, even racial and religious discrimination, which happened in 13 May incident. This all concludes that voting must be done in our country. Next, our voting strengthens the democracy, where democratic stability, where we have a high voter turnout, promotes stability and legitimacy in government. When a high voter turnout represents the citizens' voices, the government and the country and the citizens will be stable and harmony, moving towards forward, and their pace will be so good. And the main thing where we prevent corruption, voting holds the leader accountable and reduce the risk of corruption. Well, when we vote for the right person. We make sure that we vote for the right person. The right person leads our voices to the government and executes execute it more perfectly than what we think of. Next, voting as a tool for change. Example like policy shift. Election can lead to major changes in laws and policies. Let's say uh, the hanging law, like uh, hanging until death is one of the biggest what they say that affects the families of the prisoners and everything, like hanging until death. So when a new government comes up, they ban the law where it said that this punishment doesn't have hanging by death, but they come out with a punishment where the prisoners can change for what they did and everything. Like every citizen, every crimes which is made by a prisoner deserves a forgiveness, not to repeat the mistakes and everything. So hanging by death is not only the solution. And responding to emerging issues, voting allows citizens to address new challenges through their choice of leaders. Let's say we didn't pick a right leader, we just vote, just like playing and everything. We cannot come forward. We should pick the right leader to help our community, to help our country, to help the citizens, to represent our voice in governments. This is so important to make sure that the emerging issue, that they respond to the emerging issues. Let's say in a country there's like emerging issues such as like flood and everything. So we seek government to help us, not only just financially, but like for the food and everything. They still help. So the right leader comes up with the right choices, right decision making. Next, the conclusion is voting is a right, responsibility, and a powerful way to influence change in a country. Every leader has their own agenda regarding their status. They still provide a good influence to the upcomings, to the youths. In my point, there's only one thing to say, that make your voice heard, and we should vote in every election to pick the right leader for our country. Next, thank you for hearing the presentation. I hope voting can change the future of the country. Indeed, it does, but the youth doesn't have clear explanation regarding it. The voting is an important and fundamental right for our country. That's all for me. Thank you, miss.